G'day everyone and welcome back to Baggers Podcast 25. I'm your host, Carlton Blues 25, and you are
Louis from the Perth Blue Baggers pod.
privileged enough to be joined by another special guest. So back-to-back weeks of guests. Thank you, Connor, for coming on, mate. How are you?
Mate, I wish my normal reply whenever someone asks me how I am is never better. But sadly, after the atrocity we witnessed on Thursday, I can safely say I have been much better. Well, I'm in recovery. Are you boys recovered yet, or are we still struggling?
No, I'm in the rehab mode.
I reckon I was recovering during the game. I was expecting devastation. There wasn't. Yeah, it was a very odd feeling. I just wasn't worried at all during the game. Maybe until it was like 2 minutes left. Until it really started.
The whole game, I thought, look, they're not going to win the Tigers. I was frustrated. I'm like, we should be winning by 80 points. I thought this will be one where, they give us a bit of a fright, but then we kick away and win by 4 goals. But when they hit the lead, that's when I went, shit, I think we're actually going to lose this game, and we did.
Yep.
Yeah. It was just horrible to say in the last 5 minutes we decided to pull our finger out, and she was all she wrote by that stage. And it wasn't like it was a 41-point margin and they were coming back. It wasn't like they were going to stop coming back either. They kept going, and we just did not know how to keep up whatsoever. But we delved into it a bit more.
Yeah, it just goes to show you in this league, anyone can beat anyone. If you're 10% off, I think we were a lot more than 10% off, but if you give someone a look in, it doesn't matter who you're playing, they will beat you. So you would have thought we would have learned these lessons by now. Like the amount of time we've been at the bottom of the ladder, my whole life we've been towards the bottom. We've finally come good, and you would have thought we would have learned the lessons, but it turns out we still have much more to learn.
Yeah.
100%. And I said last week when we versed GWS in that cracky match, I went on fan cams with Terry from Brewblood. I don't know how to say it. I always stuff up that damn name. And I said it was good to see that we kept fighting. Like, we didn't let GWS back into the game. And then that really backfired literally the next week when we blew a 41-point lead. So it's just not what you want to see from, especially us, with the list that we've got. It's embarrassing.
Well, yeah, now what a loss like that does, given the hit, I know 2 years ago we made the prelim, but it makes you wonder, was that the anomaly? Was that the one where we lucked out and made a prelim and we're actually not that good of a side? And when I say not that good of a side, I mean that our list, I think, was built to be win premierships in the way Melbourne did a few years ago. They were talking about contest and pressure, and this is like having big balls in the midfield, like Cripps, Chera, Matty Kennedy, George Hewitt, big balls. But the game's moved away from that. Now the game is run and carry, hot ball, it's forward handball. And I just wonder if our, as much as I love all of our players, I wonder if Fogarty, Cottrell, Motlop, Frankie Evans, Ashton Moyer, I wonder if that is a good enough small forward / small midfielder group to propel us into the top 4 and compete with your teams like your Hawthorns and whatnot, who are playing that really fast, exciting brand of footy.
Yeah, 100%. What's your take, Louis?
Oh, yeah, it's very worrying signs, considering we've only beaten West Coast and North Melbourne in the since that loss to GWS. That's sort of catalyzed this huge form slump. So,
mate, I hadn't thought about it like that, but when you mention it, you're spot on. How many games is that? So that's 2 wins, and it's
12.
only against 12. 2 wins in 12, and it's only West Coast and North. So, yeah, maybe we are in the bottom 4. Maybe we're a bottom 4 side. Who knows?
There's a bit of realising to do in that club.
Yeah. How do you think we go about improving it?
I think now, since that loss has happened, our back has been bloody so against the wall that we have to reply. It's not like we want to reply, so we have to reply. So whether that's getting close to the win against Hawthorn, or actually getting the win, which will shut up a lot of people, I'll tell you. The amount of comments that I've been saying about all this kind of stuff, that, our list is overrated. Well, it might be. You never know. We might have completely stuffed up what's happened and what our future holds, but you look at our list and you say that is a capable list. So, I don't know, man.
Look, mate. It's if we had the answers, we'd be in the coach's box. But it's not up to us to know the answers. It's up to them to figure it out. So he's hoping they find a way to turn it around, because we deserve more, us Vegas fans, especially our I'm 27. You boys are a bit younger than me, but my old man, by the time he was my age, he'd have seen 6 or 7 flags or something like that, and I'm and us together, we're yet to see any joy. So it can't be far away. Surely turn it around.
Please.
It can't be. There's been so many myths going around, like 30 years since this, and this is going to happen this year, and all these kind of facts going around. But it just makes you wonder: is this actually the year? But then, you kind of get a bit of a reality check, I guess, because we kind of got very ahead of ourselves.
But look,
really,
if we're to go glass half full for a second, rather than like there are so many different pathways that could be walked here, and given how unpredictable AFL has become, like you're never safe anymore. You can be 40 points up and lose. You can be Brisbane and lose your first 4 or 5 games and go on to win a premiership. In modern football, momentum's such a powerful thing. Anything can happen. So if we're to take a glass half full approach to it, you look at Sydney, they made a grand final last year and they lost to Richmond. And Richmond last year, everyone thought they were going to be horrible as well. And they clawed their way back. Brisbane were 0-4 or 0-5, I can't remember. They went on to win the premiership. So while us supporters are going to be bloody frustrated, I think it's important to rally around the boys. Hopefully we can turn it around, and hopefully there's a chance that this year we can be the story where it's like, fuck, can you believe Carlton lost their first game to Richmond and everyone thought they'd be bottom 4, and they find a way to claw their way back to a bloody grand final. Obviously, that's, way over the top, but you know what I mean. Hopefully we can be that story this year.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, well, I reckon we've probably summed up that game very well. Got a bit of venting out. So I reckon it might be time for a bit of a preview, boys. How do we feel about that one?
Yeah, mate, absolutely. Let's get stuck in.
Righto. So, Hawthorn, Thursday night. And basically a must reply. As I said, it's not a want to reply, it's a must. And I'll hand over to Louis for his first take on the preview.
Yeah, so they obviously got lots of key players stacked in the back line, stacked in the forward line, and even in the midfield. They got players improving everywhere. We pray that our defenders can handle their pressure, forward pressure and speed and all that. So what they have down the back line, just off the top of my head, they recently recruited Barras. I think they're good at intercepting defender. They got Battle, who's also another recruit. And then you go into the midfield, they got Will Day, who had a great performance against Sydney. I don't think he did as well against Essendon, but not sure if he really needed to be honest. You got the forwards with Jack Ginnivan, the Wizard, and then you got Chol. Lots of different players. Can you think of anyone else?
Well, I think it's
Who else should we be looking out for? Yeah, forgot about him. Yeah.
They have class players everywhere. I mean, when you think about Hawthorn, I think their biggest strength is their medium to small size players that are lightning quick. And what I worry about there is that's the complete opposite of our strength. Like, our strength is our key position players. Like, having Wiedering down in the back line, DeConning in the ruck, Curnow, Mackay, that these are our strengths, and their strength is the exact opposite, which is having the small guys. So it's almost like who wins this game? Do Carlton win it through having big boys that dominate in the air, or do Hawthorn win it by having better small players who dominate on the ground?
Yeah, and at the moment, the Hawthorn game plan seems to be the one that's working over ours. As we discussed, it's almost like we're in the bottom four. They're clearly in the top four sides of the last. It's probably equal to about a year now.
Yeah, just about. I mean, given that they lost their first, I think it was 6 games or so, and they nearly made the top 4 by the end of the year, went all the way through to a semi. Anything is possible. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, man. Like, I think that what we got to remember with this competition, as we've said before, is that it is so even to the point where anyone really can get the job done on any given day. You just have to rock up. But if you look at it from purely a matchup point of view, I'm really worried that we haven't got the smalls to go with their smalls. I don't know if we can match them. So we're not gonna beat them at their own game. We can't try and match them in this hawkball style and run and carry and just because I think that that's their game and they'll dominate. I think what we need to get back to, even though the game's trending away from this, we need to play the game plan with the cattle we've got. We need to go back to being beasts, brutal beasts in the midfield that just smash you in the clearance, get it in long to Curnow and Mackay, and hopefully we get it done in the air. So what I want to see from this game, whether we win, lose, or draw, who knows? I want to see us get our identity back of being this beast of a team in the midfield, this brutal team that you know you're in for a challenge when you go up against them. I want to see Cripper, Walsh, Chera, whoever goes in there, smash bodies and beat them with toughness around the ball because we're probably not going to beat them with run and carry when it gets to the outside.
Yeah, very well said.
What we just saw. What were you going to say, Luke?
No, I just said very well said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was indeed. Basically, I think they've got probably obviously the better run and drive than what we do. When they're out of their back line, they're unstoppable. They're going straight to goals. But with us, we're bombing it long over the top of heads, and our smalls can't do all that work.
What I want to see, boys, is we saw it again on Thursday night where you see Crippers Wiedering, you see DeConning. These are the blokes we know are going to rock up every week, and they do. I want to see us, even if we don't win, even if we lose, I want to see us obviously get close at the very least. But I want to see our best players be Cottrell and Fogarty and maybe I'd love to see Jordan Boyd come in this week and play a role. Like I want to see these blokes be named in our best rather than it just be Cripps Wiedering to Conning and we're just relying on the same blokes every week to try and drag us over the line.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the next things that we'll get into in about 2 to 3 minutes is our predictions for the lineup. And I'm really interested to see both your lineups. And I don't know if you've had any thinks about it. You probably have, but it's gonna be an interesting one. But I'll quickly get into my preview. So obviously the Hawks are off to a very, very good start in 2025 with beating Sydney and then beating Essendon, who actually looked really good in the pre-season, I must admit. But Hawthorn are just looking on top. They look unbeatable. And I think our best footy is enough to beat any team in AFL, to be honest. And it'll beat them by far as well. Like, it's not going to be, like a short, crappy match that we just scrape over the line in. It's going to be a good margin. It'll at least be 30 points if we play our best football. And I did watch this edit the other day. I think it was the Monday Blues saying, if we play our best football, no one's stopping us. So, yeah, there's a lot of hope in the community at the moment. There's obviously a fair bit of negativity, and that's understandable. I mean, there's a bit of a limit to the amount of negativity you can kind of have, whether that's towards a player, which isn't ideal. Obviously, there was a few things said to, I'm not going to say who it was, but it was pretty bad. But it's going to be an interesting one this one. It's either we rock up and we win, or we play like we did against Richmond and it'll be a 40, 50, 60 point margin. And
Yeah.
good teams, they'll run over us any day of the week. But, when we're playing our best footy, we'll bring it right up to them. And
Yeah, mate. I just hope that I'd love to see some of the boys that are getting knocked at the moment. Some of the boys that are really being questioned. I love, my dream situation, like I said, is we win, and it's not because Cripper has 40 in kicks 4 off the back of his own bat. I'd love to see some of the people silence the haters, say Jesse Motlop kicks 4, and really proves the point that we're more than just our best players. We've got more to offer. So if I was the coach, I'd be putting it on them. I'd be putting it on all the players that aren't the superstars we know we have, and I'd say, boys, it's your turn. It's your turn to get us over the line. Show up.
Yeah.
And just another thing, with that, I've heard a lot of things saying about Voss being sacked. It's completely not his fault at all. It's the player's responsibility to, actually come and perform. But obviously we weren't able to do that, and Voss is the guy. He's the guy that will actually tell them what to do, and they'll bring it out into the game. And hopefully they'll bring it out into the game. You never know with Carlton, to be honest. But yeah, I reckon it's time for prediction time, or lineup time, I should say. So let's start with you, Luke.
Oh, I think the biggest name I can think of that needed to come out was Francis Evans. He got one goal from probably a bit of luck there, because he just socketed it off the ground. And then someone else who comes in, probably Ashton Moyer. I don't know why he's been pushed back so much. Maybe it's not quite match ready. He hasn't had a full game of AFL yet, so maybe they're trying to build match fitness and get him in. I think Nick Haynes has to stay in. Maybe he's just feeling the pressure under a big crowd. Remember, he hasn't played against 80K in front of 80K very often. It's going to have to get used to it because that's going to be his home crowd. I think he'll keep a spot. I think just one change, really. Unless it's an injury. Actually, there was no injuries to come out of that game.
That's
One
probably
positive
the
I
only
can think
positive.
of. Yes.
Yeah. It's one of the only positives I can think of, that's for sure.
Well,
Unless they
I can
surprise
tell you
us
right now
Tuesday night.
I can tell you right now one other change. Charlie Curnow will be coming into the lineup.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And like I said, mate, I don't think if we win this game, I don't think it's going to be off the back of beating them with smalls. I think we're going to have to back in our big boys to get it done. So I would keep Brody Kemp in the side despite Charlie coming back. I'd play Charlie, Harry, and Brody up front, and hopefully that really stretches their back line. For me, Jordan Boyd needs to come in. He's our best ball user across the back line. And one thing about ball movement, people say you need to move, you need quick plays, you need to be quick, and that helps. But you can be quick with ball use. If you rebound off half back with a 30, 40, 50 meter dart through the middle, that can be your pace. It doesn't necessarily have to be foot pace. So Jordan Boyd's a mystery. For me, he's in our best 22 every single day because he's our best ball user. But he didn't play any practice matches and he isn't on the injury list. So the rumour mill's going wild. I don't know what he's doing. But if he's fit, he has to come straight back into my team. And Ashton Moyer has to play probably at the expense of Frankie Evans for mine and Jackson Binns. So it's a lot of changes. But Curnow, Binns, and the other two lads who I just mentioned, Curnow, Binns, Boyd, and who was the other one that I just spoke about, have to come back into the lineup. So I'd probably make the 4 changes, try and get some pace in there, and that would be my changes, mate.
I'm basically the same as you blokes. So I've actually got Haynes out. I think as you said, he does need to get used to that crowd, but at the same time, dishing up what he did dish up wasn't, ideal. But I don't want to put any blames on him. I'm not that type of person to do that. Type of, rat him out or anything like that. He just didn't have a great game. I think he might need maybe a couple of games in the VFL, get his mind right.
Yeah, that
Bit
could
more
work.
experience playing for Carlton, I guess. And then I've also got Frankie Evans out with the inclusion of Ashton Moyer and Charlie Curnow as well. I would like to see Jordan Boyd play. I just don't know who goes out for him. So, yeah, it's a lot to think about. I think I would like to see Brody Kemp play on a wing, to be honest. He's got a lot of run. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but personally, that's what I want to see. Yeah, a lot of changes to happen, and hopefully we do see a couple of them changes happen. We obviously know that Curnow is playing, so he'll definitely be in the 23. He's not starting as no sub. I've seen a few goddamn comments about that. I don't know why people are commenting these random things, but Curnow will not
It'll
start as
be
a sub.
Curnow and Mackay up forward, and we'll see how good Barras and Battle really are. We'll see if they can match it with our big boys.
Yeah.
Now,
one
question. What about Sauce? Does he play forward or back?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question.
Look, he looked great in the forward line when he went down there, but we've already got 2 Coleman medalists. I think Wiedering needs help. Haynes, I believe in him. I think we give him time. He's an All-Australian before. I know he's getting a bit older now, but persist with Haynes, in my opinion. And we got to play McGovern. But I think Haynes and McGovern aren't as reliable as what Curnow and Mackay is. So I think Wiedering needs support more than Curnow and Mackay need support. I'm happy for Kemp to be the 3rd string tall up forward, but Sauce, I want him as the rock to help Wieders and nothing gets past him.
Yeah. I actually think there'll be a few.
They've both been practicing.
Yeah. I reckon there'll be a few changes throughout the game with Sauce and Kemp. I reckon Kemp, if something is going wrong and it's a really tight game, I would see Kemp going back down to the back line and Sauce coming into the forward line. Just looks so strong. I don't know if that's just me or whatever it is, but I've got a few random things in mind this week. But I think it's unfortunately just gotten to that where you have to think random and you've got to hope for the best at the moment. But this is the best bit about doing this podcast, is doing predictions.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I don't know if anyone really wants to do predictions after what we just saw, but let's get into it though. And Louis, you start us off.
Well, I will be tipping Hawthorn just to safeguard my tips. But if we do win, it will be close. Probably within 10 points. We'll just say 10 points. Charlie Curnow, maybe with 3 to count. Mackay 2. Hopefully Jesse Motlop can get 2. Zach Williams 2. A bit of an equal distribution. And we would need some contributions from the midfielders as well. So we saw Sam Walsh go and kick a goal against Richmond. So hopefully he can do the same. 1 or 2 for that. And I feel like it would have to come down to a bit of a clutch finish if we are to win that. With the crowd behind us, it is our home game. Should be more Carlton fans.
Hopefully. We do hope so. Over to you, Connor. What's your predictions?
Look, mate, who's to know? If Richmond can come out and beat us round 1, then if a result as completely wildly unpredictable as that can happen, then who's to say an equally as unpredictable? Well, not an equally, but also unpredictable result can happen the following week. So, look, I'm bleed navy blue, mate. My brain tells me that Hawthorn's run and carry and that modern game style probably gets the better of us in the end on the big, expansive MCG, and we might get beaten by 4 or 5 goals in the end. But as you said, mate, we have no option but to respond. If we just get tramped by 12 goals by a much better team, then all of a sudden Voss will, rightfully or wrongfully, he will be the talk of the town in the media. He'll be under intense pressure because the Richmond result was one out of nowhere, and maybe you put that down to a shock result, and sometimes shock results just happen. But if Hawthorn come out and beat us by 10 plus goals, all of a sudden that looks like we're just 10 to 12 goals off the proper contenders in the competition. So where does that leave us? Something must be going wrong. So to answer your question, mate, my prediction, I think the Hawks do win in the end. My brain says that by 4 goals, but I really hope that, as you said, we have no option but to respond and we win a thriller. But I think realistically, it's more likely Hawks win this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm biased, so I'm going to tip Carlton. But yeah, I do think Hawks will roll us by at least 20 with what footy we did play. But honestly, that's probably
Points. 20 points, not
yeah,
goals.
you never know. You never know. But yeah, I'm gonna say points. It's a bit of an odd one. I'm gonna go Curnow 4 goals as the leading goal kicker. I'm gonna go Chero Baston, and I'm gonna go, if we do win, we're winning by under a goal. It's not gonna be a blowout. I'll say 3 points. And yeah,
He's hoping, mate. I'd love to see it.
Oh yeah, I'm a big
we're all
hope.
delusional.
Yeah, real, very very real. Probably one word to describe our football club fans at the moment: delusional. But what do we got next? Oh, yes, this is a good part. This is fun. All right, fan questions. This is fun. I like doing fan questions, and we've got 7 of them today. All right,
Nice.
this is a question to Connor. How long have you been a member?
Sorry, mate, you broke up just for a second there on my stream. Would you just want to ask that one again?
All good. How long have you been a member?
I have been a member ever since I was a kid. So, look, mate, like I haven't been a consistent member because there was a couple of times where my dad chopped and changed and he went away and this stuff happened. I've been a 10-year member on my current stream, but I have been a member ever since I was born, just not a consistent 27-year member.
Yeah. No blame. 2018, I wouldn't have wanted to be a member.
Yeah.
Hopefully we do not go back to that. That was
Mate, I remember this is what being a supporter is all about. You know, when I reached that age was when I became 18-ish. It was in around that. So, and that's when your parents stop just paying for everything for you because you're not a child anymore. So it was up to me to pay for my own membership if I wanted it. And I was 18 and I decided, you know what, even though we're the bottom of the barrel and we have just probably the worst team you've ever seen running out there, I was paying out of my own pocket the membership year after year. And you do start to question, are there better things I can put my money into? But you got to keep the faith because it's keeping the faith and being with them at their worst that makes that premiership all the more worthwhile when it does eventually come.
So true.
100%. All right. This is a question to all of us from Everything Carlton on Instagram. Go and give him a follow. Where does our season go from here? Oh, I mean, it's a bit early to predict where it goes from here. Obviously, we just saw a very bad loss. We can't really judge it right now. But if you came back to me at round 10, I'd be able to give you a little bit more of a clearer perspective. But right now, I'd say we are not making finals, is one way I'll put it. And we'll go over to you, Luke.
Coming into round 1, my ladder prediction would be finishing 4th. So that falls in that top 4 sort of prediction, and flag or bust was really the expectations going in. Put up a post, and most people seem to say either make a grand final or win a grand final. So I think that's what I sort of felt. But coming into after this game, huge mindset change. Simply, it's just about trying to make finals at the moment, because I think this will come back to bite us. We're 14 wins and then we're finished like 7th or 8th or something like that, because we couldn't bank in earlier wins.
Yeah, 100%. Very true.
Yeah, I would have said top 4 at the start of the year, but after what we dished up then, and when you mentioned the 2 wins in 12 games, I think it's probably more realistic now that we're probably a 10th place side, but hopefully they prove me wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'd love to be proved wrong.
Oh, so would
That'd
I.
be great.
Yeah. I hate being proven wrong, but right now I'd love to be proven wrong. But
Yeah.
Anyway, our next question from Big Billy Wilson. Go and give him a follow on Instagram. Is Carlton's list overrated? It's a good question. It's a very good question.
I think everyone sorry to jump in. I think everyone rates our list appropriately, and how they rate it is our top end talent is as good as any other teams in the competition, and that's true. Like you look at our best five, and it's as good as anyone's, but it's more that middle and that bottom section where, have we got the talent there to match other people's bottom 10 players? And the answer at the moment is probably not. So that's where the improvements comes from. If they step up, then our list will be rated as they should be.
Yeah.
Yep. I just happened to put up a story asking followers a poll, yes or no, is our list overrated? So maybe this is something to go by. Keep in mind it likely to be Carlton biased. 31 votes at the moment. This is about 3 hours ago. Have said yes. No, 28 votes. So that counts to 53% yes, 47% no. So at the moment, the general consensus of my followers seem to indicate that the list is overrated because whatever reasoning, I think the 9 put out something about how we only have Mackay, Charlie Curnow, and Patrick Cripps as our A graders, maybe not even Mackay, and they cast aside Sam Walsh.
Yeah.
Where is the other solid players coming from at the moment is the question. I'm leading, I think, slightly overrated.
Probably right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think you are right. In my opinion. All right. Oh, this is a very, very good question. Does Charlie Curnow have to make an impact straight away, or does he slide into the team? Good question.
Well, he definitely comes straight back into the team. But I think he does have to make an impact straight away because if he doesn't, we don't really win games. So, I mean, coming back from injury, it's always hard, but I think he has to make an impact, mate, because unfortunately, our bottom 6 players don't really get up to much. So we have to rely on our best 5 to win us games of footy.
Yeah. It's an interesting, actually, question because with the 2 wins out of 12 games, I think Charlie didn't play the last 2. That's still 2 wins out of 10 games. Or, no, 9.
And,
yeah. Sorry,
had an injury in some of the other games, which hindered some of his impact as well, I reckon.
It's an interesting one. Personally, I don't know. And I don't know really what to say about that one, but
that might be quite symbolic, mate. Of the Carlton poster just fallen off in the background and crashed onto the floor. That might be quite symbolic of our season.
Oh my god!
Is that shattered or what?
Well, we're gonna keep that part of it, not editing that out.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Oh, dear.
Leave that
I was
anyway.
playing darts as well. I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
I'll show you the
fans
replay.
got for us, boys?
Oh, that might just sum up our season.
I hope not. I hope not.
And I completely forgot what I was saying as well. Oh, whatever. My opinion doesn't matter on this one, to be honest. What was the main issue on Thursday?
Simple mistakes.
Yeah,
Just the
turnovers.
basics, the fundamentals.
Well, that's the biggest concern to come out of it is we're getting to that age bracket now where people say it's a sweet spot for a premiership. And it's because we're meant to have the experience under our belt now. We know how to be composed. We're meant to pick the right options because all of our players have played, 50, 100, 150 plus games. It's not like we're kids like Richmond. Yet somehow in the moment, they were more composed than us. And that's the worry, that the one thing we're meant to have on our side now is experience and wise heads, and they didn't come to the party. So, yeah, I think our biggest issue was our inability to be composed under pressure.
Indeed.
Very, very well said. This is a question to Connor. This is a good one. Who's the best teammate at Wattle Park?
The best teammate, I think. So I'll tell you, of all the content creators, I think my favorite teammate has to be Caden McDonald, just because you put it in his area. It doesn't matter if he's only got a shoebox of worth of space to work in. He'll find a way to slip his way out and kick a goal. He's weirdly electric around goals. But of the non-content creators, Michael Allen, shout out to him. He's the hardest player I've ever played with. Head over the footy, unrelenting in his pursuit of the footy. So they're the two that really stick out for me.
Yeah. Oh, another question for you. What's been your biggest achievement doing what you do?
It's a very good question. Two probably stick out to me. And these two probably stick out. I'll give you three. These three probably stick out because how I made my start in this sort of AFL industry was through being the best friend and the right hand man of Caden McDonald, which I absolutely love because he's the best at what he does. He's an unbelievable YouTuber, and to call him a best friend, I'm very lucky. But the three things that stick out probably stick out because it wasn't just an opportunity I got because I was mates with Caden. It was sort of things I went out and did on my own. So one of those being hosting the AFL Grand Final parade last year was really fun. That's a lot of people to be in front of, and it was just so cool to play a small role in the best weekend of the year every year. Aside from that, being able to host the Slice, which is an AFL show where they fly me around the country to cover and document some of the best local community footy stories, was an absolute joy last year. So I was very privileged with that. And the other one is probably having a spot on the Brownlow red carpet where I was lucky enough to interview for Channel 7 and get me head on the telly on the night of nights, on AFL's night of nights. So they're probably the three that stick out. No, sorry, I'm going to give you one more because this is probably the highlight. Is when Cripper won his first Brownlow for Ball Magnets, Tom Mitchell's at Caden and I went to Cripper's room before the Brownlow started, and it was Cripper, Tom Mitchell, and Lockie Neal, Caden and myself chatting about what it's like to win Brownlows and us interviewing them. And to be able to interview three Brownlow medalists in the same room the night of the Brownlow, especially for me being a Carlton supporter right before Cripper wins it, that actually, now that I think about it, is the highlight of everything we've done to date.
That is unbelievable. That last one is unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do remember actually seeing you on. Well, I wasn't there, but I remember watching a video of you on the red carpet interviewing some players, and that was quite cool. I do remember watching that.
It's cool, boys, and it's achievable, mate. Like, we never would have thought it would turn out to this when we first started. So, you boys, you started earlier than what I started. So, just be consistent, keep on ticking it over, and you never know if it could be you on the red carpet next.
100%. 100% keep giving it a go. Keep chipping away at it. And the last question from Henry Lister 97 is: would Kados come on the podcast?
Mate, I'm not sure if he'll come on the Carlton one because he's so loyal, Melbourne. But I tell you what, he's one of the best blokes I've ever met. So it's worth shooting him a message, asking him. I don't know if you have already. I can put in a good word for you, and I'll try my hardest to get him on the show.
Perhaps for a preview of the match with Melbourne.
Yeah, we always have good games against Melbourne, so have to see how it pans out.
Good idea, boys. Good idea.
I've flicked him a message, so yeah, we'll see how that one goes.
Ripper, boys, ripper.
And that does conclude episode 21 of Baggers Podcast 25. All right. Thank you so much, Connor, for coming on, mate. Really, really appreciate it.
Mate, my pleasure, boys. I'm even in the darkest of days and the worst of moments for our football club. I'm always happy to talk about it and hopefully provide a bit of optimism. And I love what you boys are doing. I know I just said it. Stick at it, mate, because you never know what can turn out. And I bloody love that you boys are so passionate about the Baggers. So thank you so much for getting me on. I really appreciate you reaching out.
All good.
Thank you.
Anytime. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I'll see you
guys.
later, boys.
See you later. Thank you.